Hi everyone, it's Daryl, and I wanted to do a quick recap of the April group support session that we did last night. I know we had a little bit of a challenge with some of the Zoom connections and the in-clinic presentation to the big screen, so doing this recording just to hopefully be able to, for those that missed it and had asked a few questions, what had happened, I wanted to share this. So. Here are some of the slides. As always, just a little lighthearted moment to share. I know for some of us, especially when it was cold, dark, and wet out, a lot of us were in that fitness protection program that Winnie's in there on the right. But one of the things that has been going around on ChatGPT through a lot of our feeds is people using ChatGPT to generate images of the action figures. So we got some definitely for here in the clinic. There's Jen on the left. She calls herself the Shadow Queen in her Barbie action figure. There's me on the right, as a weight loss clinic director, and then we have our own semaglutide action kit there in the center. Kind of a play with artificial intelligence and what's possible. So for the April group meeting, typical topics that we typically have, some clinic housekeeping. We go through a set of guided discussions and then kind of the open discussions amongst those in the meeting. We did our round of introductions. It was great to see a number of people share where my dream vacation would be is I always love going to Mexico, and that was probably about 30-40% of the people shared that as well. We had people that were first-time patients, only been with us a few weeks, up into including Jan, who's been with us since we first opened the doors 12 months ago. So it's great to see Jan there. She's been at most of our group support meetings. Great participation from everyone. So one of the things that we talked about was our, these items as far as the housekeeping. So let me go through them. This was our 1-year celebration group meeting. It's not the event that we're having on the 26th, but one of the things that I did go through was kind of the last 12 months by the numbers. And so what we did was we put up a number, and then we had people around the room kind of guess what that number represented. And so I'll go through it kind of quickly with those on this playback. But 7,812 was the number of pounds dropped combined by our patients so far. It's kind of a testament to the great work that our patients have done, the impact that we're having. I can't wait to get to that 10,000 pound number, but 7,800 is pretty good so far. Next number was 2,250. Think about what that could be. It was the number of injections we've given in the office so far over the last 12 months. We appreciate our patients who start their journey with us. Everybody gets their first week for free and get their injection in the office. But then we have those patients who come by every week to get their injections. We love meeting and seeing our patients every week. There are those who drop by because they're needle shy, and it's a free service that we offer. And then there are those patients who, for privacy or for other reasons, don't want to keep their medicine at home, and so they come by the clinic each week. And I must say that our patients who we do get to see every single week, that's 4 touch points a month. We're able to check in, we're able to do weigh-ins, we're able to adjust dosages as needed. Our patients who, stop by once a month do really well, but the ones who are able to come by every week tend to do a little bit better. And that trend continues. Our telemedicine patients, while they get their medicine delivered to them once a month, the fact that our patients who are able to come in, get their body scans, and we're able to checkpoint, continue to do well. So 447, that's the number of active patients we had as of Thursday. Active patients are those that, who are still receiving medicine every month, and it takes out those who either reached their goal or stopped or quit for whatever reason. So the clinic continues to grow, and we're just blessed to be able to touch so many lives within our local community. 97 is the number of patients who've transitioned from being obese into just being overweight so far. That's a big milestone for a lot of people to get from above that 30 BMI to below 30. I'll need to make sure I grab the number of patients who've transitioned from being overweight to being normal. There's a growing number of those, and we really celebrate those patients that hit that. 93 is the maximum weight drop by one single patient so far. She's just short of 100, and she's the most shy patient. She doesn't want to share her name, she doesn't want her picture on the wall, but she's doing incredibly well. She checks in each month, she does what we ask, she focuses on her protein, she focuses on her water, and she continues to do several pounds a week, just week after week after week. 7 is the the total number of vacation days that Jen and I had in the last 12 months. The only formal time we took off was 1 week during Christmas, from the 21st to the 28th. Many of you remember that because we didn't do any new appointments. We only had a skeleton team here to hand out medicine and to do shots. 2 represents the 2 co-owners who are married and still doing well, and 1 is the number of locations that we have so far. One of the things that we talked about was getting LegitScript certified, and so we posted this on Facebook. We shared this in a blog post, but a number of people had asked kind of what was involved in getting the certification, and it's pretty intensive. It's a many month process. It includes doing deep background checks on all the employees. They do extensive verification on everybody who's involved in the medical team, from Dr. Vitchich to every single one of the nurse practitioners and physician assistants, including making sure that they check up on their licenses, on their certifications, making sure that they've never had any malpractice suits filed with them, making sure that their licenses aren't about to expire. It's pretty intensive. We go through a deep financial audit, so they look through all the payment processing that we do, all our credit card statements, the amount of refunds that we have to do, the amount of chargebacks, to make sure that from a payment point of view that we're beyond reproach. They do deep verification on our pharmacies. We have to use pharmacies that are also LegitScript certified, and it's a pretty intensive thing there as well. They do patient record reviews. How do we handle our patients? How do we do charting? How do we make sure that we record everything there, including the privacy policy, our HIPAA policies, make sure that we meet all federal, all state regulations for that. Because we do telemedicine, every state has a unique set of requirements for telemedicine. We have to meet all the requirements there, and all the unique requirements for Washington State. They do a deep dive into our marketing, our advertising, to make sure that what we put out there is not suggestive, it's not out of the works, that it's totally above board. And then the last thing they do is they actually do some what they call secret shoppers, where they will have actual patients sign up, go through the consultations, do the complete end-to-end, sign up for medicine, for the payment processing, and actually receive the medicine, verify that the medicine's authentic, and we don't know who that's going to be. And so that's why it takes many months to go through the whole process, but we're just very proud to be LegitScript certified. I think, at least in our area, Pierce County, South King County, I don't know of a single other clinic that's achieved this. I do know of one that's in the Bellevue area. They're tied into being they do medicine on the side, but their main focus is being plastic surgery and liposuction and things like that. But it's pretty rare to find a clinic in Washington State that has this certification. We announced that we got rid of our ShapeScale body scanner. As you can see here, we just had so many scans from the ShapeScale that failed. The reason that we moved into the ShapeScale is originally our Staiku had problems doing some scans for certain body types. They've since fixed that, so now we can do any body type on the Staiku. But the ShapeScale, their process is, you do a scan for a person, it sends it up to their cloud, and 20 or 30 minutes later we'd get the results. And just about 20-30% of the time, the scans would just be incorrect, whether it was missing heads, bodies were misconfigured, we'd have half the body missing. It was just, it was an embarrassment. And so ShapeScale was originally designed as a at-home product that they're trying to scale up to be used in the commercial world, and they're just having trouble. And it was too many problems for our patients, and so we've booted it, and so we're transitioning all patients who are on the ShapeScale over to the Staiku, and so going forward everybody will have a Staiku scan. And they're designed for commercial use, and it's just rock solid now. We got a lot of questions about the upcoming either semaglutide or tirzepatide shortages. One of the things that we've shared, we've sent out letters to our members, is that for us, there won't be a shortage of medication for our clinic. We have multiple different pharmacies that can provide medication, and just like when Hallandale stopped shipping tirzepatide back in October last year, we were able to switch all those patients over to our Idaho pharmacy. We have multiple pharmacies that will be able to continue providing medication for both semaglutide and tirzepatide, in addition to all the other medications that we use, the NAD, the BioBoost, or Lipo-C that it's called. And there will be no stoppage of medication for our customers or changes in prices. We've seen some of the other clinics in the area, some of the large clinics, doing some crazy and interesting things. But for us, it will be business as normal. Everybody will continue to get their medication and continue to become healthier as we planned. The other thing that we went through was this month's guided discussion that Jen led. It was around, talking about how to stay motivated and active even when you're kind of in that depressed state. This really hits people, especially in the wintertime, but kind of around the calendar. And so, from things that, that like the study that she found that Duke University shared, that, for a lot of people, simple amount of exercise and activity is as effective to helping people in that depression and anxiety state as, actual pharmaceutical medicine. And so, there's tips to make sure that, hey, make sure you visit your doctor and talk to them. Start out small, just getting those small wins in, even just 5 minutes, a day is better than nothing. And every time you get a win, it's just a little bit of an improvement to build upon. And we're trying to get people to focus on aerobics to help fight the depression and help fight that anxiety. Don't just think that you need to get to the gym and lift weights. These are about little incremental things that you can do to improve. Set realistic goals. Maybe it's just a handful of leg lifts each morning, or maybe it's a few minutes of walking. Set a commitment, meet the commitment, feel good about it, and build from it. But don't try to say, hey, every morning I'm going to go out and run, 25 miles. That's not what we're asking for. Just a few minutes and commit to yourself, and be successful. Make sure it's convenient and consistent. One of the great recommendations she has, and she does this at home as well, is, keep just a couple 2-pound, weights by the couch if you're a TV watcher. And when a commercial break comes in, pull those weights out and do something with it. It's a way to get in a little bit more activity. The commercial breaks are usually downtime anyways, and instead of skipping a day because you don't have the motivation, just skip a commercial break or two. But try to get in, a couple of those activities while you're watching TV or watching a movie, without having to miss an entire day. You can still get a few minutes of activity in. You didn't skip it. Take the win because you deserve it. One of the things that works out well is if you can kind of create your own playlist to go along with any sort of activity and exercise program that you do. Make it upbeat, make sure you enjoy it. Whether it's upbeat or whether it's sexy music to kind of get you motivated, it's unique to yourself, but create something that'll get you going. Any physical activity apart from formal exercise is good as well. Whether it's gardening, the sun's coming out in this time of the year, so get out there, get your hands dirty. But yard work, is something that we all have to do at times. It's daunting, but it's activity that adds up, and it's more fun than cleaning. So there are other ways to connect with other people. There's a lot of social groups on Facebook and others. Jen lists a few examples here of some of the ones that she participates in. It's a great way to meet other people. It's a great way to get out and have some activity. Think of setting your goals. But try to do something new. Be creative. Think positive. Whether it's something whether it's a dance class or something like that. But get out, be active, and be positive. Don't let yourself, fall back into that depressive, anxious state. Being active and setting some movement will help. And don't forget that, when you do hit these goals and make some of these activity achievements, reward yourself. In Jen's case, her reward always revolves around something that looks like ice cream. But, yours doesn't have to be that way, but make sure you do reward yourself. And, seek out other support, whether it's people within our group. And remember, she really, really called out at the bottom here, if you, really stressed or having a hard time finding somebody to talk to, reach out to us, reach out to her. She's got 2 great ears, 2 great shoulders, and we're here to help other people. Finally, remember, depression can create additional barriers, but you're the one that can overcome them, and we're here to help you. That led into a number of open discussions, which I won't go through and try to recap, but this was just a quick recap of what happened at the group meeting for those that were not able to attend. Let us know if you have additional questions. One of the things that we did pass out was comment cards, and we got a lot of great feedback on things that we can do a little bit different and some focus areas for some of the guided discussions. But hopefully we'll see a lot of you at our event on the 26th. We're going to have a lot of raffles, a lot of medicine that we want to hand out for if you bring friends or family to sign up. They get half off to start if they sign up on that day. And we wish you all the best. Thanks.